Hello! Today is January 21st, 2019. I am Michael Shuran, and this is the Bad Quail Games video blog. This video may contain spoilers for the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons adventure, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Now, in this video, I want to ask some questions about what it means to play a game. I'm playing Waterdeep Dragon Heist on Roll20 right now. And we've reached the point in the adventure when the player characters have received a piece of property, Troll Skull Manor. And we spent the last 2 sessions since receiving the manor doing a lot of urban exploration and role-playing. And we've made a few rolls, just skill rolls, but we mostly haven't been using the rest of the game's other mechanics. We haven't been using spells or class abilities. Class abilities, and the things that your class is good at in Dungeons & Dragons are all fighty things. We haven't been fighting. So, have we been playing Dungeons & Dragons? Of course. I think that we have been. What we're experiencing is a weirdness in the adventure's pacing. And honestly, it might have a lot to do with the format, but I think that's a conversation for another video. So we've hit this like weirdness in pacing, but what we're doing is still setting up opportunities for later on in the game. By learning about our manor and our neighborhood, we're learning about ways we can spend our gold. NPCs and businesses we can utilize in the area. We're also just like doing things that are attaching us emotionally, hopefully, to the setting and making us care more, which is good. But how much interval do you need between engaging the game's mechanics, like the game's real meat and potatoes, before we can say we're not playing the game? On the internet and in meat space, you can talk to people who will say, yeah, man, we love playing Exalted. We've been playing it for months and we've only rolled the dice twice. And when I hear or read people's experiences of playing games in that manner, I always ask myself, man, are you really playing the game? But does it matter? Does it matter if you can sit down for 6 hours, ostensibly to play Exalted or Dungeons and Dragons, and not actually use the dice very much or at all? Does it matter? Like, hmm. And so I think it depends on the group whether it matters. Some people will come to the table with the expectation they're going to play a certain game, and then if you don't use that game's rules, or barely use that game's rules, it can feel a lot like, why did I, what did I do? What did I just do for 6 hours? And you can feel like you've wasted time or aren't getting the experience that you wanted out of play. Other people just enjoy role-playing and being around their friends, or otherwise don't identify their personal goal of play with engaging the mechanics. Maybe they want to see how they can solve problems without engaging a game's rules. There are a lot of styles of play that are centered around thinking outside the box and finding ways to solve problems that don't involve the game's mechanisms. And that's fine. So, this gets me to another question. If we don't engage with the game's mechanics, what are we getting out of the game? Would it be better to use no system at all? So let's take Dungeons and Dragons as an example here. Even if we don't actually use any of the mechanical rules in Dungeons and Dragons during play, what does the game provide us with? Or we get knowledge about the world, the setting of the game. We can look at character creation and look at the different species that players can take on the role of, and we can say there are these kinds of people in the world. We can look at the classes and we can look at it and say, okay, these are the kinds of things that the heroes do. These are the kind of skills and abilities that our characters have. We can look at it and say, well, there's magic, and there are these kinds of magics, and here's how they work. We have a system for doing magic. And we can look in the monster manual, and we can say the world is populated with these kinds of creatures. We can look at the equipment list, and we can say, here's the kind of material culture that exists in the world. Here's the kinds of things that we can find just out in the open, or out in a shop, or on someone's table, or being carried by a background character. For the actual characters, it tells us what their physical and mental traits are, right? What is their strength? We can, if you never roll a strength test, we can know that the character with an 18 strength is buff. We know the character with an 8 strength is kind of a wimp. Though we already talked about the classes and what the classes will tell about characters, we can look at the list of skills and what skills the character actually has, and we can say, well, here's how this person is likely to try and solve a problem. Here's what they're good at doing, and here are the other abilities and tools and spells they have at their disposal to solve problems. So even if we never like care about the dice part of Dungeons and Dragons, the game, the books, still, and like the compressive character creation and advancement, still can tell us a lot about the characters that we don't necessarily need the rules to enforce. That said, um, I can definitely see that if you make, your fighter, it can be disappointed if you never roll an attack with your longsword. But if you're free-form role-playing, having the longsword can still be valuable, and knowing that you can have it, right? The game is still providing some structure to make decisions about the characters and what they can do. So, yeah, I think I surprised myself a little bit with the questions I asked and the answers I came up with. Because when I started recording this video, I expected to be saying, if you're not engaging the rules, you're not playing the game. And that if you're not engaging the rules, you should find a game that does engage the rules when you play the way that you do. And I don't think that those are wrong approaches. I still, like, personally, I feel like I want to play a game that cares about what I'm doing. I want the mechanics to guide play, and the text of the game to guide play in a more meaningful way than the game telling me about the world and then just free-forming the rest of it. Anyway, this has been the Bad Quail Games video blog. I have been Michael Truran. You can find um, me on the internet at Viking_powered on Twitter, at patreon.com/Viking_powered, and on Facebook at Bad Quail Games. I hope you all had a lovely day. Farewell.